mental fitness is a big part of your work.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, how does it move leaders from dreaming big to actually getting big things done?
It's easy for people to think about physical fitness, like, oh, especially January when everybody's all the gym memberships are happening in
Yeah.
January. And why do you go to the gym? Why? Because you want to be able to feel strong, or you want to know that your heart is going to last as long as you live. And you do reps. You do reps. It could be running, so another distance, riding a bike, whatever that you happen to be doing to be physically fit. Mental fitness is like doing the same thing for your mind, and it's not like just reading books. We're talking about like what are the exercises that allow you to flex so you're not operating on autopilot. So mental fitness is that basic construct that so many of us operate on autopilot. Like if it's like driving the same route every day and then you forget how you got there. You don't know what buildings you passed. You don't even know what the stop signs are because your body was on autopilot. It's breaking out of that and getting yourself to a point where you're able to be nimble and resilient. So, like dreaming big versus getting big things done, mental fitness turns those big dreams into execution by reducing the internal friction that we feel. A lot of us, I know me, I'm just going to say me, I'm not going to point anywhere else and say, I oftentimes have thoughts that are not conducive to what I'm trying to do. Right? They're negative, like, oh, you tried that. You shouldn't be trying that, like those kinds of thoughts. They're talking like voices that are like talking to you, but if you call them voices, people think you're crazy. But they're like the voices that are talking. Oh, what did she say to you? Like really asking questions that don't need to be asked, right? Like those voices that are saying things that are not conducive to what you're doing. And when you hear those voices, I don't want this to be about, being crazy, but when leaders are fighting themselves and fighting their own thoughts that likely have no real grounding, when they stop doing that, they can build their capacity to decide and act. So when you can silence that thing saying, "Oh, you want to do what? Like, Carl, you want an app to do what?" Like that voice, when you silence that, you're able to break through it and get real things done and get to people who are loyal to the work, to people who are interested in the cause, people who genuinely agree with what you're doing and want more of it.
Even if we use somebody, let's say Elon Musk, for example, imagine before he made it, telling somebody, yeah, I'm going to make robots and then I'm going to work with the president and
Mm,
buy social apps and be worth trillions. Just imagine him telling somebody that when he was at his beginning level before he started working with PayPal, just how they would look at him when he was back in his days when he used to sleep out the office, just
mhm.
how crazy they thought he was. Or Steve Harvey, you know, Tyler Perry, like living out their cars. Imagine how people felt when they told him, okay, I'm going to be rich one day and do this and that. And yeah, we definitely know you're not crazy talking about voices because everybody has that voice when
Yes.
you are trying to do something big. And it's, sometimes it's saying something and you just, like you said, you got to just shut it down and you got have to go with your intuition and take that risk. It's kind of like when we talk about mental fitness, you could work out every day, go to the gym every day, but working out your muscles is not working out your mental capacities.
No, no,
It's
not
not
at all. Not at all.
elevating your consciousness in no type of way. I would rather, don't get me wrong, working out is great, but your mind is something that's worth more than your physical body.
Working out is great, and then you're an athlete, so I'm sure there's something in movement and using your body that is resonant for you and makes you feel, might even make you feel a high. Like if you're running, you know what, like it might make you feel like you're floating when you're using your body. You channel that energy, that like repetition is a lot of repetition and exercise. Some of these things do cross pollinate, right? Like
Yeah.
movement actually unlocks creative stuff in your brain. Biologically, that happens with you with athletics. Like, how have you felt that way, or when have you felt that way?
I would say all the time.
Ah,
Like,
nice.
cause with athletics, it's kind of like it's mental and physical
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah.
With business, it's more so just mental.
Hmm.
So transferring from being in a sport where, dang, I might have sprained my ankle last week, but I know we had this playout game. It's my senior year. I may have 14 touchdowns, but I don't have any D1 offers. Am I going to say, hey, I have a sprained ankle, I'm going to put my well-being first, or am I going to say, hey, I'm putting it on the line. It's my senior year. I'm going, hey, I got a sprained ankle. I just better make sure I don't break it. Like those
Mhm.
are the type of situations that I faced my last game being a senior. So coming from that, that's not only mentally exhausting, but that's physically exhausting on my body. So coming from those type of circumstances, I can now translate the business where I don't have to worry about certain, of course, physical things always gonna happen as we get older, but
Yeah.
I don't have to go out there and worry about a 300-pound lineman trying to throw me to the ground while it is happening, While I'm sending this email, can't nobody come tackle me. So it's a different type of mental capacity that I can have now, and that I can be more comfortable just coming from those situations. I honestly tell people this all the time. I feel like if I never played football,
Mm.
you might be talking to a totally different person right now, because it really helped me mentally and just overall as a person just build my resilience for things.
Yeah.
For example, like we might have a game and we might lose the game, but you still had to be at practice on Monday. That can translate to business because okay, I thought the big deal was gonna go through, but it didn't go through. Am I gonna take the whole week off and sit in that energy, or am I gonna stick to the plan, keep building my capacity how I was scheduled to do? It's already ingrained to me in me to do that because sports taught me that. So I just switch it to business.
Mm. There are so many parallels between like sports and business. So many parallels. Like, yeah, you might have not done so well, or the game didn't go as you planned on Friday, but you got to show up on Monday. Like that totally happens in business. Like you lost a deal. That client didn't come through. They canceled, whatever, a PO that you might have had. Yet you can't shut down the company. They might have even been the biggest client, and you happen to lose them. That doesn't mean that everything stops, because it's not just about that moment. It's what can you learn from that moment, or what muscle did you not have that allowed you guys to lose the game? So, taking that frame of reference, if the game is that lost client, what just happened? What muscle did your business not have? And to be honest, some of those lessons you want to learn, and you want to learn as early on in your business as possible, because those lessons are going to set you up to scale faster, to reach more people, to make something stickier, whether it's a service or even if you're selling a product.
Right. And it's just having that season mindset. Let's say we have 16 games in the season. Of course, we can plan to win them all, but realistically, we're not going to win every game in the season. So if we go up 2 wins and then we lose one, let's not focus on the one that we lost. Let's focus on what we did to win.
Hmm.
Where are
Hmm.
we putting our attention and everything that we're doing? If we're focusing more on the losses, we're going to bring more losses in.
Yeah.
If we're staying in that energy, but if we're just focusing on how we're going to get better, we're still going to end the season on a good note and make the playoffs.
What you focus on is what you're igniting. Our coaching programs are called Highlight to Ignite. What you highlight is what you're going to set on fire. So if you're just highlighting the failures, well, okay. If you then you could say I'm a loser, yeah, because that's all you see is the loss. But if you're highlighting the wins, the like tactical, what did you do to make that win happen? Like highlight, like if you have to study that win, what was the magical set of circumstances that allowed that thing to happen, and study that so you can do more of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that point. That's true. We have to use that laser focus and not let the negativity get to us. So, what do you think it looks like when someone resets the size of their cup, and how does that change the way they act?
Well, when you resize your cup, you
Yeah,
act like you belong to the ending of your chapter. So we're all working towards something. So whether it's, oh, I want a promotion, I want to start a business, I want, to have a family, like those are personal goals. Like I want to travel the world. Like we're all working towards something, right? We want something. And when you resize your cup, you act like you already belong to the end of that chapter when you already have that thing. So if you want to travel the world, but you don't have a passport, then you don't really want to travel the world because you never got a passport. So if you acted like you belonged, like someone who traveled the world, you would have not only a passport, but the extra large passport that has extra pages because you'll need the extra pages for all the wonderful places that you're going to be going. And if you acted like you're resizing this cup, you're resizing this cup. You don't act like you're a visitor. You know when you go to somebody's house and you're acting polite, you take off your shoes and you might sit on the couch and you're being polite in the space. When you resize the size of your cup, you're not a visitor anymore. You're an owner. So you own that outcome. You know what the possibilities are, even if they're not clear. You're not like tiptoeing around it. Like, I think maybe perhaps I might consider one day. That's not how you sound. You sound like this thing is for you. So your voice changes, who you see to surround yourself with changes, and opportunities will start to see you in a different way because you're showing up differently.
Yeah, that's so true. Cause it's not certain things we could see, but it's a mental battle that's going on with everything we do. Like you said, you might put in that application and mentally you like, oh man, I hope I get this, I hope that. And it's like you already lost
You
because you
already
just
lost.
like you hoping.
Yeah, we
And
live in the spirit of expectation. We were working with a team at a utility, and they were kind of dysfunctional. They had not been operating well for a couple of years, and it got to the point when they invited us to work with their team. One of the problems was that nobody believed that they were actually working with us because they actually wanted a better ending for that team, a better story for that team. And so the first time we met with them, people were checked out. They weren't talking to each other. They didn't even want to be there. And what we saw was that they didn't want to be there because they didn't believe that this was really a thing. They thought it was just like, checking a box, like, okay, we tried to do something like a team, rah rah with these people. But when we kept on working with them, there was something that shifted. And I'll tell you, Carl, it was actually funny to watch because it got to the point where people were almost sounded like church. Like when they started speaking to their leadership, other people like, mm-hmm. Like, it was kind of funny because they believed they started believing that their voice in expressing the displeasure, what was going on, like, okay, leaders don't listen to us. Oh, they're hierarchical. They don't want to talk to us. They don't care. They're always saying we're wrong. Like all the concerns that they had, this was the first time they actually got a chance to speak their concerns and feel like they were being listened to. So they resized their cup. They saw themselves as, oh, okay, we're just working on it, whatever. Nobody likes us. Like our reputation is bad. Our leaders don't like us. This is what they were thinking. When they resized the cup by the end, they were saying, I want to sign up for that committee that is now going to be working on this thing, fixing this thing. They raised their hand. They raised their hand to do more. So what changes when you resize your cup is like you're engaged more in a different way that actually matters.
yeah, that's a great response. I recently saw a video of Offset, one of the members from the Migos. He was doing the interview and they asked him how much he got paid for his first show. And he said they got paid 250 for their first show.
Mhm.
A member of the Migos. And this is a performer that's now making around like 100,
Wow.
250,000 off one performance.
Wow.
So I love that point because it's like you have to realize it's steps to where you want to get to. Even with me, I remember my first pitch competition winning $5,000 in 5 minutes. That was my first time doing it. Mentally knowing like if it's somebody out here who will pay me 5,000 in 5 minutes, it has to be somebody out here who will pay me 50,000 for 30 minutes. I
Mhm.
just have to find the opportunity and keep working on my craft. I had to know that mentally before I can even go do it physically. So yeah, that's a great point.
And you're like the pitching expert at this point. Like, what helped you shift that thinking from, okay, they're gonna $5,000, I got this, and then now they'll pay me more. Like, because you're doing amazing things. You shared that with me that you guys about to kick off a program with your high school. Like, what got you there?
Really just expansion. It's really all in the reps. I would be lying if I said I just went on stage and just did it without practicing. I feel like it's the work that goes on behind the scenes that people really don't see. And I feel like football really prepared me for that. I remember during the off season, I will always be on the track. I will always be training. I will always be doing drills. Once it's time to play on Friday night, it looks easy, but it's like they weren't there all the days I'm doing the work. So I just translate that same work ethic to business. I might just be practicing the pitch over and over. So by the time I'm on stage, it looks like second nature, but I just really made sure I incorporated that into my work, just to have it in my routine. Lil Wayne was speaking about that. Like repetition is the biggest thing that really gets you where you want to go. I feel like that's in any craft, whether we're talking about a top actor, a top musician, a top podcast, or whatever it is. The more you do anything, the better you're going to get at it. You have to. So yeah, that's what I would say, just repetition. And as far as the programs with MoveSpot, we really just want to expand. We know that mental health is a big problem with every generation, not
Every
just a
generation. Yeah.
certain generation. It's everybody's feeling the effects of it. And we definitely want to be a solution to that. We have a new feature coming out soon where people will be able to meet up in person more and make more in-person moves. So yeah, we definitely have a lot on the way with that. With the program, we're going to be
Yeah.
teaching the kids about tree planting, water hydration, and just climate awareness. So we'll be going to my alma mater high school. We actually had a whole auditorium booked for us. So they letting us use the auditorium from 8 to 3, also letting us use all the outdoor areas just to give back to the kids. We bought them some hoodies, so have some food for them,
I
little
love it.
get out of class free card day, field day. So it's definitely a full circle moment, just going back to, where I came from and being able to give back to the students is a great feeling.
I loved when you told me that story because that totally ties to capacity. It's like allowing young people now to see themselves like, oh my gosh, like he went to this school. And just by seeing that, that expands their capacity, their ability to believe that they can do what you've done. They can win pitch competitions. They can like create apps. They can do these, they can create a clothing line. Like they can do these things. Like I love that about your story is that you are so clearly creating capacity for others and just by being yourself, which is like so cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. That was a great point because sometimes seeing is believing.
Yeah.
You knowing, okay, this dude really he was in these same hallways as me. Around 9 years ago, he was in these same hallways as me. So I should definitely be able to do something like he's doing. So yeah, that was really one of the main reasons of making MoveSpot. It's more, to me, it's bigger than money. It's bigger than all that. Like people want cloud money. Like it's bigger than that to me. I just want the impact.
Mhm.
So it's definitely good.